Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. We've just purchased ourselves a Hilux work ute. What's the first thing we do when we get it back to base? You got it. Drop the oil out and check that oil pickup. We're going to give you some details of this vehicle and all the things we're going to check. First things we're going to check, priorities, the things we find. Bada bing, bada boom, sit tight, get your notepads and pens out. And there's such a messy oil drain arrangement, these Hiluxes, aren't they, compared to the Prados with the whole angle thing going on. But you can see the good news so far. That oil pickup there, clear. It's not blocked with carbon. That's the good news. Doesn't mean we haven't got blow-by at the injectors. The vehicle's 8 years old. The injectors are due. And I'm in two minds. I was going to say they will be getting replaced, but the thing is, R&TU vehicle, push it out to many hundreds of thousands of Ks and record all the statistics and see what happens and tell you all about it, or just do the right thing and put a fresh set of squirters in. Anyway, let's get around under this vehicle, get this oil drain arrangement out of the way so we can have a look around. On a positive note, these front tyres are almost like new. Bloody beautiful. And 265/65/17, which I think in 2013 would have been the standard size. The oil has drained overnight, which I've purposely left because what happens is when you know, it takes a while for all the oil to come out the oil pickup, right? It does stay back for ages. So I'm going to try and get the camera right in there so you can see, you'll see through the gauze this time. If you let the oil drain long enough, right? So I'm going to try and I'll get this light out the way. Look at that. So you can see straight through it, where normally you've got oil behind it that takes quite a while. Right, those few specks, I would normally say don't worry about that, but that could be the start of blow-by. Blow-by could be happening, you know, it's 8 years, you know, you just don't know. That's why I say every 7 years, 170 is your limit on getting your injectors out to reseat them. And in most cases, you're just going to put new squirters in anyway. You're doing all that work, right? So what that means is that's the first part of good news, because that means the engine hasn't been starved of oil, most likely. Looking at all the injectors, pops, everything looks original. I like that. That means we haven't had contamination. We've purchased a vehicle that came out with full DLC injectors, a 2013. This engine hasn't been compromised because it's had the best possible injectors from the start. And it hasn't had the seats leaking, probably because they haven't been touched. We got lucky this time a little bit, right? Let's go and have a look. So we're going to get the oil back into it, change the oil filter. Injectors coming out is one of the next thing that's going to happen urgently. But what's the next most important thing we're going to do? The transmission oil. Let's take a look. The pan. It looks pretty original, right? I don't see any evidence that that's been off. Or, just hit my head on the hoist. Not bad, but you know, enough to give you a surprise. I'm trying to get up above here. Alright, see that pan? It just looks original. So, we've got a drain plug. No check level plug, that's because this one's got a dipstick. So, what we'll do, we'll get the oil out, not right now. I've got to make sure I've got some of this one on the shelf. I'll have to check that out. We're going to use the Penrite FS full synthetic, not the LV for this transmission. Different transmission, right? Just be aware, it's the 4-speed auto. Yes, we like the 5-speed auto much better, but this is not a bad transmission. We just got to make sure the oil's right. We look after it a bit to get the life out of it, okay? They're not as good as the 5-speed, the A750. All right, so that'll be the next thing, an oil change. Okay, so let's take a quick look under the vehicle like we normally do, going through it quickly. We've got that upper ball joint, no problem. I've checked for playing the front wheel bearings, rack ends, the usual sweat on the boot. No problem. Drive shaft, bloody beautiful, original. This is what we love. Oh, tiny little thing of grease there, but that's probably just popped out because it's gone up on the hoist, possibly. Let's have a look at these lower arm bushes. Quick look tells me they're looking pretty, a bit twisted up that side, but looking pretty good overall. Not something that I'd be worried about. Yep, looks good in around this side as well. It's going to be the same over this side. One side reflects the other generally, so we're not putting arms in it. Happy days. The Hiluxes do seem to go better on the front lower arm bushes. You can see the CV boot problem here. You can see it's an original shaft, okay? That's original. It's got the sticker on it. I think I'd have to double check. Let me turn it a little bit. It's going to have the part number on it somewhere there. Yeah, 4, 3, whatever, blah, 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 whatever, right? Hard for you to see, but there it is. That's original, but someone's put a boot on it, so someone's got a stick in it or something. That's the only reason it's broken. Genuine quality Toyota. These outer boots are awesome. Look at the angles. Probably, you know, they flex up really well. They're strong, but someone has got a stick through it or something, and then they've gone and put an aftermarket. You can have a look at the brand. I'm not going to say anything. Whatever that is there. I reckon it might be one of those ones that stretches over from the outside, are really, really super stretchy. But look, it's ripped open again because that's what happens with this rubbish. And you can see, lucky it's not an off-roader, probably not too much has got in there. So what I'm going to do to get a bit more out of it, most likely I'm going to pull this shaft out. I've got a spare boot off an old shaft, and I'll just quickly rebuild that and put a new outer boot. And we'll see how far this outer joint goes before it gets noisy, so we can provide that research and tell you, warranty you. It's got EFS in it, not saying it's new or anything like that or any good, but the height sits all right. It rides okay, it's a bit rough. We'll put some Dobinson's coilovers in eventually, and same at the rear. So we're happy we've got a clear oil pickup. Quick scan under the vehicle, needs a clean up. Obviously it doesn't go off-road, it hasn't been off-road, it hasn't been really dirty, but it hasn't been clean. There's some wires we've got to follow up with. I think there was an Anson plug that went up around in here somewhere to the back to run a fuel transfer pump for some earth moving equipment. Okay, just having a quick look up the back here. We've got a spare tyre, there's some tread on it as well. Exhaust system still looks good. It's got the EFS springs, you can see. Bada bing. The boots on the shockers, not a big deal. We'll replace those, or we'll just rip them off and get rid of them and then replace the shockers later. They're taking gesture up there, doesn't matter anyway. They're not really doing much. The dust boots are missing off the brakes, but you can see heaps of meat left. That's how you check your brake shoes. Okay, and the top one's missing as well. I think someone's replaced the wheel cylinders at some stage, which is good and bad, well, just depends. There's no oil leaks here at the axles, which is excellent. The diff plug not too damaged. It looks like they've over tightened the engine or sump plug. It was hard to take out and it didn't feel right as it went in, so I'm a bit concerned about that. Might be putting a sump on it one day. We're trying to do a repair on it. The rest of the vehicle looks good, so I'm really keen. I wanted to check the oil pickup. I wanted to get new oil and a filter on it. Next thing is that transmission flush, so we're going to bring the vehicle down off the hoist. There's not much to see here, except for that split boot, which is all caused by aftermarket mess and environmental issues. No leaks at the bottom of the radiator. A spare zip tie there, I'll get that out. Bit of a clean up's what this vehicle needs, and it'll be beautiful. Quick browse around the engine bay. This is as it is, right? See? No leaks at the valve cover. Right, that means no cracks, probably because it hasn't been off, which is beautiful. Right, everything under here looks really original, nice and dirty original, you know. Earth moving, so you know, on a bit of site here or there where you get a bit of dirt, whatever. Actually, it looks like the original water pump. Doesn't look like it's leaking yet, so one of the lucky ones, but it'll cop a BFE job soon anyway. Okay, what else have we got? No sticker on the timing belt, so go and check the book. Coolant looks pretty good, but it'll get a BFE job on the coolant. It's got some air horns here, so we'll go through what wiring and what relay to keep that working. But I've noticed a number of wires pretty messy here. We've got some, you know, we've got a wiring loom down here, some scotch locks onto the lights down there, kind of, sort of. Some lights been removed because there's a scotch lock with nothing on it. We'll get rid of that. See what all these wires are. Follow this through. This is obviously aftermarket ARB loom here, and there's some wiring that goes down there. Like I said, power to the back. We've got a bit of a, I don't know, we've got 2 fuses here, which is good. Pretty dodgy connection. More wires here. There's a number of wires here. There's got to be stuff here that's not being used, plus another series of wires down under here. There's not that much stuff on this vehicle, and then you got 2 earths here at this side. So clean up the electrical. None of the clamps are missing. It looks good under there. It doesn't look like the injectors have ever been out. We liked it original like that. You can see it's not an off-road. It hasn't got heavy mod. Just had some driving lights, some air horns, some power to the back. So we'll tidy up this electrical because there's just kind of like wires going everywhere. Let you know what we do next. Stay tuned, subscribe, bell on, give us the thumbs up if you like our Hilux. It's about to get even better. Needs a clean. It's pretty clean inside. One cigarette burn in the seat, but look, the seats are pretty clean. Right, dash is looking pretty good, pretty original type thing, and maybe a new set of floor mats. Yeah, that one's worn through. That's easy to do, but the important one, any smoke on startup. So let's give it a. Oh yeah, nice and quiet, and not a puff, nothing to be seen. Beautiful, that's what you want. But we'll probably put some new squirters in anyway. Yeah, I was a bit distracted by all the dirt and dust and the worn out floor mats, so it's a few hours later now. And gave it a little bit more of a clean up because I'm getting distracted by it. New set of mats. Now I can think. So the oil's done, the pickup's clear. I've had a bit of a look around the engine bay and it looks very original. Looks better than before, yeah? Now we can sort of see what's going on. So this is the plan of attack. Next job, going to flush the transmission oil as we discussed earlier. You can see the dipstick there because it's the 4-speed. Right, you want to know, I think it's 343 or something that they call it. Let's have a look there. I'm just looking and reading. Well, I can't even read. A340F, yeah, I always use the wrong number. So A340, 4-speed. So we're going to give the transmission oil a flush because that's the next most expensive component next to the engine. And I can't believe it. I was contemplating leaving the injectors in to like do some R&TU, but no chance. Injectors are coming out. It's going to get fresh squirters. Full DLC will be what's in there, and it's going to be full DLC what's getting replaced, new pipes and all that. It's really good that it hasn't been touched and it looks original and clean, but it's about to get even better. Once that's done, I think we can't help myself. I think I have to do a BFE, as I said. That water pump looks original to me. That belt, oh no, it's not original. It says Daco, so it's been replaced, but it looks horrible. That's even worse than leaving the original one there, I think. So, and I just don't know about the timing belt. You know, I just don't know. Okay, you know, it's unknown. Anyway, so that's a video, guys. We're gonna get the BFE done because timing belt, we're relying on that not to fail to look after the engine permanently, if you know what I mean. If the belt breaks or there's some problem with the tensioner, small money to invest for another 150,000 Ks. Belt and bearings, water pump, nice coolant flush. Like I said, it didn't look too bad. So we'll do that. It may have some aftermarket. It's a different kind of red. It's more of a purpley sort of, yeah. So we'll give that a good dump and drop it again sometime shortly afterwards. Really good original vehicle. Like I said, we're just got to go through a bit of the wiring and sort that out eventually. So check the oil pickup, get some fresh oil into it, transmission flush if it's an auto. Then we're going to get into the fuel filter, replace the fuel filter, the air filter, clean the MAP sensor, do the injectors. Part of that's the MAP filter. You've probably seen it in some other jobs. Look, we're pretty well on track then. The BFE, we're pretty well done everything then. It's kind of some big works, but it's just the usual. As far as I'm concerned, it's just all the usual. And it should be an awesome vehicle. We'll let you know, we'll show you some more videos on this. Some of the works we do perhaps, maybe not, and how it's all going and what else we end up doing with it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. That's a bada bing, bada boom. See ya.